An AEW wrestler potentially on his way out after his contract expires. What went wrong? Why did AEW stop booking him? We're going to talk about it all in today's video. Also, on top of that, Triple H officially no longer running NXT. We now know who has replaced him, who is calling the shots for NXT 2.0. And yes, I truly believe this news is disappointing. Also, we do have some news on AEW's battle for the belts. We got the official number for its viewership. I'm going to tell you guys what changes AEW should make, so therefore they see some improvement. If you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button and ring that bell. Otherwise, let's just get right into the news. So AEW Battle of the Belts drew 704,000 viewers, which honestly, this is pretty decent, I think. This came from Brandon Thurston. Obviously, AEW ranked in the top 15 for cable shows, and it's fine, right? However, the major consensus that I'm seeing from fans on social media, maybe our Discord server, maybe the YouTube comments, is that Battle of the Belts was a special event that didn't feel special. And that is something I've also believed in. Now, I'm not saying 704,000 people is not bad. But I do think that if AEW truly promoted this event like a secondary pay-per-view, it would have done more than 1 million views. And I think that is the key to making AEW do very well in the future. I think this card was not something a lot of people, especially in AEW's core demographics, I don't think it was a card that attracts them to leave and cancel their plans on a Saturday night. And I think if you really want those viewers, you got to do that. You got to do a mind-blowing card. And I know this sounds absolutely crazy, but Danielson versus Hangman Page on Wednesday night on TBS debut episode, in my opinion, probably should have been saved for Dynamite, maybe a different time. And their first match should have been taking place at Battle of the Belts. So they should have done their 2 matches, but I think the first one should have taken place at Battle of the Belts and then another one on TBS. My belief is this, guys. AEW has a lot of potential, but they have to understand that their core audience, especially on the weekends, they're not staying home watching wrestling. And that's been proven this entire duration of their existence. So if I'm AEW, it wasn't a bad show. It just didn't feel like a bigger deal than it should have been. And I think the way to correct that is just by establishing a better card. And I get it, Cody tested positive. They had to make some changes. But still, Ricky Starks versus Matt Sydal for a title that's not even really recognized in your company. It's just a little bit of an odd decision. Wasn't bad. There could have been a lot of better things to be done with it. Nonetheless, it is what it is. All right, guys, I do want to talk about Triple H because we finally got the confirmation. Fightful, Sean Ross Sapp, has come out with some very interesting news in regards to Triple H. He is not running NXT. It's not Shawn Michaels. It is, in fact, Bruce Pritchard and a lady named Christine. I don't have the last name in front of me, but the 2 people that are pretty much head of creative, obviously we know Bruce Pritchard is the executive director of Raw and SmackDown. They're running NXT 2.0. I understand that NXT 2.0 isn't for everybody. I tell you guys, I enjoy it. It's something I enjoy, but it's also not really hard to please me as a wrestling fan. I enjoy AEW, Impact, WWE. I like parts of everything, and I typically hate parts of every show. So nonetheless, NXT 2.0, in my opinion, is good, but I think this is really coming down to the realization that either one of 2 things are happening. Triple H is not going to be in WWE much longer, or Triple H is being prepared to take over the main roster. And I do believe that is a possibility. From my understanding, the people that will be running WWE main roster after Vince leaves or is gone or whatever it may be will in fact be Nick Khan, Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H. And obviously, if that's the case, Triple H can't be handling NXT. I believe the major consensus as well in this situation, and I think a lot of people have mentioned it, a lot of YouTubers have also mentioned it, a lot of friends of mine have mentioned it, John Laurinaitis, Bruce Pritchard, Kevin Dunn, Vince McMahon's core group of people are the problem. And I don't think WWE sees a tremendous improvement in terms of the wrestling community. The internet wrestling community, I think for as long as those guys are there, I don't think the wrestling community will be supporting the product. All right, guys, before we get to our final story of the day, just a quick reminder, AngoPlays is now live. We have daily content on there, everything from AEW's video game to WWE 2K22. If you guys like wrestling video games, that channel is for you. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. We're trying to get 1,000 subscribers. We're just a couple hundred away, not even. So I would greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, let's just jump into the final news story, guys. Brian Cage, he's been sharing some cryptic messages, but the last time we seen him involved with AEW, it's been a long time. Now, what's strange here is that Brian Cage has been used in independent wrestling events, so it's not like he has some sort of injury or whatnot. But he has posted a photo on Instagram, and the caption said that he is looking for the answer. Hashtag who better, hashtag need the machine, hashtag Swolverine, hashtag where you been. Guys, nobody really knows what's happening with Brian Cage. The last time I talked to you guys about Brian Cage, there was an update that he got a lot of backstage heat because of Melissa Santos. However, this is what's really strange about this, and this is why I genuinely don't believe that Brian Cage is staying with the company. If your wife is outspoken about the way that you're utilized on your product and then you're punished for it, that sounds like something Vince McMahon would punish you for, not something that Tony Khan and AEW would punish you for. And it's really interesting when you hear of these stories of backstage heat in AEW because they are supposed to be the alternative. I thought they run things differently from the way the boys used to run it in the back. So my belief here is this. If there is truly backstage heat on Brian Cage, shame on AEW. First of all, first and foremost, shame on AEW. Now, whether or not you're a fan of Brian Cage or not, it doesn't really matter. Brian Cage was prepped as a big deal in AEW from the time of his arrival, and then as time went on, it was very clear they had nothing planned for him. And as a fan of AEW, this is one of my biggest things that I have talked about on social media and in my videos that I don't like. This is the one thing, if there's one thing I don't like about AEW, you bring in Brian Cage, you bring in Jay Lethal, you bring in Tony Nese, but what the hell are you doing with these guys? And it's crazy because you bring in Kyle O'Reilly and you bring in Bobby Fish and Adam Cole and you do something immediately with them. So the thing is, like, this is starting to remind me of Triple H and NXT 2019, 2020, when the company was just signing a massive amount of indie wrestling talent, and then people aren't being used. And then here we are on YouTube or Twitter or Discord, and we're talking about, oh, well, AEW should sign, Wyndham, or they should sign Braun Strowman, or they should sign this person. But the problem is, they can sign all of these great wrestlers. If you're not doing something great with every single one of them, I would dial it back on the signing. And I'm being critical here on AEW, which I understand is rare. But at the same time, too, where's Marco Stunt, right? Where is Brian Cage? Where are some of these people? Where's Kip Sabian? Like, I know you're teasing them in the crowd and you tease them at All Out and you're teasing them, but 6 months, 5 months of teasing, get to the point, bring these people to television, do something with them, and don't use the excuse that Dark and Elevation are your product, because honestly, nobody's like AEW, when it comes to their audience, they're not really watching that. They are watching Dynamite and Rampage. So the good news here is this. AEW is a good company, but they do need a little bit of help and a little bit of guidance. And this is where I truly recommend bringing in somebody like William Regal. Will they do that? Who knows? But I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below.